All right, there's some things we need to work on this match. There's some things you did really well. We come out here good, pushing forward, good hands here. We want to make sure that we don't telegraph this slide by too much. If you look at your feet, when you go for your slide by, you step forward and you're on your ankles. I like that level change, slide by to a level change. It's a great front headlock right here. Reach up to that hip, keep them from turning. Should have shucked right there. You waited a little bit on the shuck, but at least you saw it. And you do a really good job. There's a great front headlock series. A little quicker on the shuck, and we'll score that a little faster. It's a really good tilt right here. You got him in the tilt pocket. You're going to see you actually score back points right here. That should have been, at least 2. And I would have liked for you to stay with this, the whole time. A little sloppy on this one, but overall you had him in complete control. You got to get your hips up. Look at your hip down on the mat right here. You got to clear your leg out. You do a nice job of pulling it out here and keeping this 2-on-1. I'd like to see a little more pressure on top. You're not really controlling his hips in this position right here. He's moving around wherever he would like to move, but that 2-on-1 was pretty nice, and we should stay with that tilt. I don't like this crab ride position. You're sitting flat on your butt. Your feet aren't in the mat at all. There's not really any pressure there. No hip pressure here. Look, he's just going to reach and grab your leg in just a second here, because you're not really controlling your hips and his hips, and you're kind of getting a little too far out front here. So he just reaches and grabs your legs and scores his reversal. You kind of throw your legs in here at the last second to try to stop it. Not a bad attempt. Good job bailing out here. On bottom is where we're going to need some work here. You're laying flat in the mat. Your elbows aren't really far above your ears, so he's grabbing these cross wrists himself. We got to keep your wrists clear here. This is a trouble spot for you here on the mat. You were trying to come up there, but we got to clear the wrist. You come up, left foot, your right foot's got to follow that. You got to make it a 2-step stand up there. Your left foot shot up, but your right foot was still down. Bellied out here on the mat. Your elbows are on the mat. We got to make sure that we get those off to keep him from cross-wristing you. And you'll see that if you get your hands out in front of you and keep him off that cross wrist when he's sitting right there in your hips, they're going to call him for stalling, and they will. But we got to keep that motion on the bottom. Good job right here. Find his thighs, and then you start looking for a lock. Pick one or the other. Either find the thighs or try to break the lock. So he's riding on top. He's stalling. You get your hands out here, and you'll see the official is going to call him for stalling here. If you stay balled up, he won't call him. You get a little balled up here, but as soon as you start getting your hands back out, he's going to get called for riding on your hips there, which is what you need to get him done. But you got to get those hands out. Good effort here, right? Keep coming up. Find the size. You're standing straight up and down, even though you're bent over at the waist when you're looking for his thighs. Your legs are straight up and down. You got to get your hips lower in that position right there. Again, we got to fight up here. Better job of staying at your base, creating some motion. But we get a little tired. Put our head down, collapse down to our elbow. Look at your elbows on the mat in that sequence. It slows you down here, right? Elbow down, head down. We got to keep those up and keep exploding here. Pressure them back to build your base here, right? Clear your wrists up, right? Good job. One foot. Got to make sure we get the second foot up, following behind that. Create some motion here, right? You're laying, taking a little bit of a break here. So we got to get some motion on the bottom. Get a fresh start here. Good job. We get a little bit of motion there. Right, got to clear the inside leg. Right here, wide knees, up. Right, we got one leg again coming up, but not the second leg. Right, reaching down in that. Stop the cross wrist. There's only going to give him a second cross wrist. Good switch, right? And then we use the legs to try to scoot around, which is a really good idea. I really like that. But your leg riding is really loose. Look at you're going to try to turn him here with this leg ride, and your hips are way out of position. Your hips are laying on the mat, and his hips are actually up off of the mat, and it becomes really difficult to turn them. They gave you 2 on that one. I actually didn't think you got that one, but that made up for the one earlier. Look at your hips right here. They're laying way off to the side. You got to make sure that you're staying on top. You're way too high there, and you're trying too hard to turn them rather than control his hips first. And you got to control his hips. Your legs are just kind of dangling in there, and they need to be more active in that position, because that's where the turn comes from, not the hands. It comes from the legs. We got to fight back up with a second stand up, create this motion here. You have a chance to win this with an escape, and you need to get a little bit more motion. We have a minute left in the match. It's 4-4, and he's going to ride you out, and he's on his knees. He's just kind of reaching for things, and I don't know if you hit a wall with the gas or what here, but you got to create some motion there. You're just kind of balling up, trying to keep him from getting across wrist more than trying to score your points. So, got to come back up here, build your hips up, pressure him back into him. He's riding right on top of your hips, and probably should have been called for stalling, but you got to get your arms out. He's never going to get called for stalling if your arms are balled up, or he has a bar on top. So it's not technically stalling with when he has the bar there. So motion here, changing this over, get some motion and some explosion, because again, we're at a situation where you get your escape and you win. And right here, you telegraph your slide by bringing your foot forward. You rest on your toes for most of the time, and then you want to slide by, and you saw your right foot step forward, and you go to your heel. You saw it there in your left foot, and he's just going to reach out and grab that every time, because you're trying so hard to hit that slide by. So